This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to the program. Joining me now, John Brummett, columnist with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and renewed member of the Muss Bus after the Razorbacks' big winning streak in basketball there. Is this truth to this rumor, John? I've heard that you're back on the Muss Buses.
I get on and off after every game, or I decide whether I'll be a passenger after every game. So yes, I've got a front row seat. He might be an okay coach. Seems this week, don't you think? Possibly.
He seems to be pulling it together. He's definitely got talent, but there's a lot of talent in the SEC. I watched that Auburn-Kentucky game. Wow. I'm terrified to play either one of those teams.
Yeah, I think that's the cream of the crop. But Arkansas, after the Hogs, after that horrible spell, may be right back at the top, head of the next tier, and back in the NCAA conversation, which is what it's all about.
That's right.
We want to be playing in March, late through March. That's like last year. That's what brings joy to Arkansas, and to me and to you, no doubt.
Let's talk about a bus that you are not on, and that is the national political bus, where you would be in support of what has been going on in the U.S. Congress, particularly the U.S. Senate, where there has been an attempt to end the filibuster. There's been an attempt to ram through a voting rights bill when there was not enough votes there. Give me your assessment of what is happening at the national level on those particular issues.
Well, I try not to be redundant. I'm beating this obviously very injured horse, but I'll put it in this perspective. You remember Joe Biden, who lost two previous bids for the Democratic presidential nomination in Iowa and New Hampshire, where mostly white liberals were voting and getting a close-up look at all the candidates. Biden was running fourth, fifth. He was losing to Bernie Sanders. Then we come south, and everything changes for him when Jim Clyburn endorses him, and we get into a heavier schedule of states with significant black vote, which is to say Joe Biden owes his nomination as presidency to Jim Clyburn, but yet, in my opinion, he began his presidency as if beholden more to Bernie Sanders' economics. And he strung himself out on this Build Back Better, $6 trillion, $3 trillion, $2 trillion, whatever it was. When he couldn't pass that, and all along during that time, he was saying he was a Senate institutionalist and did not support doing away with the filibuster. And then when he doesn't have the votes, of course, to get the Build Back Better passed, he decides his priority will be the Voting Rights Act. And he goes to Georgia and he says anybody who wants to keep the filibuster is a bull Connor, or whatever he said. And suddenly he's all for doing away with the filibuster. He's no longer a Senate institutionalist. He has a new priority. No groundwork had been done on it. He had been strung out on Bernie Sanders' economics. I know it's easy to criticize, but that's what I do. And he is responsible. And I've, my position from the beginning was to be pragmatic, be competent, be incremental, build some bipartisan stuff in the middle, as you indicated you would in your inaugural address, and you'll have the kind of presidency the people who voted for you to throw out Trump were seeking. He's blown it to this point. He's blown it. That's as simple as I can put it. His tactics were wrong. He wasn't wrong in terms of the morality of the issues or in terms of the policy, but in terms of the tactics, he and his White House have been utterly inept, in my opinion. And so now everybody's getting blamed because a couple of Democrats didn't want to blow up the filibuster forever, and they're supposedly against voting rights, and they're in league with Texas, and Georgia and other states which are restricting voting. That happened because his entire presidency has been a series of tactical blunders, in my opinion.
A little history on the filibuster there, and I want to get your take on this going forward. So Harry Reid, when he was the Senate majority leader, a Democrat from Nevada who passed away recently, he actually got those filibuster rules changed to allow for non-Supreme Court justices, other federal judges could get passed without the 60% threshold, as well as political appointees. Mitch McConnell moved that further down the road with Supreme Court nominees not needing 60. What do you think is going to happen? Obviously, the Democrats are not going to get it done with their 50-50 majority right now. Should the Republicans take it back, do you think Mitch McConnell moves on that filibuster rule and eliminates it basically as the Democrats have tried?
I don't think it'll be that blatant. I think he's a little more clever than that. But I think the Democrats' overwhelming 48-50 in the White House, their willingness to blow up the filibuster for one issue they wanted, albeit an important one, gives him license when he's back in charge to say, hey, they tried to do it. They didn't have enough party unity to do it. We think we do. And they've already established that they favor changing the filibuster, doing away with it on an individual case-by-case basis. And I just think it gives him license if he needs it. It's just something in his pocket. If he really needs to pass something with a simple majority, when the Senate has it, as I think it probably soon will, then hey, the Democrats tried it. Just because they were inept doesn't mean that we can't try it and succeed. I think that's what it means.
Let's turn our attention to Arkansas. We got fundraising reports last week from everybody running for political office. Obviously, the one we've been watching, the Sarah Huckabee Sanders gubernatorial bid, she's over $7 million in the bank, raised $12.8 million for the full cycle here. Maybe just, to you and me, it's a foregone conclusion. She is inevitably the next governor, barring something major happening. What do you make of those fundraising numbers? Where is she going to spend $7 million or more dollars in the state of Arkansas? Does she bank it? Does she do something nationally?
I don't know anything about what Sarah Sanders is up to. I can't get her to return my text. I will tell you this, though. The finest political sentence of the year was this one. I read the other day. Of Sanders' 87,000 donors, almost 11,000 are from Arkansas. Is that not funny on its face? The phrasing. Of Sanders' 87,000 donors, almost 11,000, meaning 7 and 8 aren't in Arkansas, meaning, in my view, most of those 7 and 8 are members of the National Trump Network. She says, this is clear evidence that the people of Arkansas are overwhelmingly for me and what I offer. And I sadly agree with that, but I think more to the point, more definitively, the Trump Network around the country wants her as the governor of Arkansas. People ought to be asking why. It may just be a reward for all the good work she did for Trump in the White House. But you got to wonder, if we confront another insurrection, we have another Trump presidency with some legal issues, you got to think that this is an investment in Arkansas, as I put it, an outpost for Trumpism. That's I make of it that here's what I make of it. I've covered politics too long, but I'm gonna keep doing it as long as somebody will let me. But I remember when Bill Clinton just got beaten up for any hint of national interest politically, and for out-of-state influence politically. When he would take off during a campaign to go to a fundraiser in California, I would write a column that was widely praised for criticizing him for being all about national issues. Here, 30 years later, what is it, 30? Yeah, 30 years later, this campaign is not at all about Arkansas. This is 7/8 about national donors, national issues. What she do with her money? She can give a lot. I think she's going to spend a record amount, even though she doesn't need to. And she'll still have $5, $6, $7, $8 million left over. Under the law, as I understand it, she can give a lot of it to the Republican Party. She can give it to nonprofits. I don't think she can spend it on building a wall around Arkansas to keep the liberals out, which is what her campaign is all about. She'd have to have the taxpayers to do that. But and she could apply it to some in some finessed way to a national profile. I don't know what she's going to do. Maybe you have more information on that than I, but all of those things are available to you. I will tell you, she is a juggernaut. If you're the new governor of Arkansas with the kind of vote she's going to get, which is 60-something%, and you're sitting around with $7-8 million just to do good deeds with for your party, are for good causes, look out. It will be part Trumpville, part Sarahville. That's where we're going to be.
All right, you'll have to coin some sort of new phrase. We'll work on that one. I'm not sure Sarahville works, but we'll.
Well, we're a Trump outpost. We're an outpost. We're the Arkansas outpost for the next Trump insurrection. I'm going with that one. I've got that one.
We got to find a new one for that. So we'll.
You don't like that either? Okay. Well.
It hasn't stuck. How about that? So let's find. We'll work on it off camera. You and I'll come up with something that really captures the moment there. All right. Lastly, we've learned late last week, Justice Karen Baker going to run for the Supreme Court again. We got 3 Supreme Court races coming up in 2022. Gunnar DeLay is her challenger. We've got Robin Wynn has got a challenger, and Chris Carnahan. I don't think that Rhonda Wood has an opponent yet. But we're going to see Supreme Court races, and I predict we will see some of this dark money that we've been seeing spent. What say you as to what Arkansas voters can be on the lookout for in terms of Supreme Court races?
Be on the lookout for national dark money to attack the opponents of the designated Republicans in these non-quote, I hate that, in these nominally nonpartisan Supreme Court races. Gunnar DeLay, he was one of the early flame-throwing Republicans. Affable fella, but he's out there running to be a Republican justice to join the other Republican justices who are on the court already. Carnahan, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm mistaken, he's a former executive director of the Republican Party, right?
I do not
know. Yeah. Okay. I'll correct that next week if I need to. Which would join the wife of the former chairman of the Republican Party on the Supreme Court. This is all a poorly executed charade. It is a partisan Republican takeover of the Arkansas Supreme Court, or an attempt. And the dark money comes in to find something in the records of their opponents, such as Karen Baker, something that she signed onto, some ruling the court has made, that can be exploited to make and Gunnar's out here saying the people of Arkansas don't want activist judges. Yes, they do. Every case is an active judge, whether you're repealing Roe v. Wade or undercutting Roe v. Wade or declaring that the state is sovereign, whatever it is. Activism is not a exclusively philosophical left thing. Activism goes both ways, but it's a good it's Republican jargon, and that's what we got. And I used to have some problems with Karen Baker, but I can't remember what they are now that Gunnar DeLay is running against her, but I'm sure the dark money will remind me. I think that's and it's forgive me, it's just an utter disgrace. And we ought to have a system of gubernatorial nomination of Supreme Court justices with some Senate legislative confirmation. Gunnar DeLay running for the Supreme Court based on a record of being appointed by a Republican Attorney General to a Republican governor to a prosecutor's job, and then by Hutchinson to a judgeship. He's there by virtue of appointment, but he and others, I'm sure, would oppose appointing Supreme Court justices because of vacancies. Go ahead.
Wouldn't the result be the same, though, if you had governors nominating Supreme Court justices that had to be approved by the Senate majority, and you've got Republican governors and Republican supermajorities in the legislature? The end result would be the same. And don't you think the Democrats would do the same thing if the political winds were in their favor?
Yes, but it would be without the charade of an election, and it would be more straight up. It would be, okay, Asa Hutchinson or Governor Sanders, you really putting this person on the Supreme Court and legislature? Do you agree to confirm? And in about 230 years, when Democrats get back in power in Arkansas, yeah, they'll do the same sort of thing. But I think it's more direct. And if you could have some sort of screening system, I know people hate the Bar Association, people on the right do, but some way to review nominees and grade them, that would add some credence to it. I believe the profession, the bar, is better at picking justices than people who are influenced only by what they are fed, which tends to be these right-wing dark money attack ads that misrepresent or exploit some rulings judges have made under the law.
I predict somewhere along the line in 2022, you and I'll get to talk about one of those dark money ads, and we'll get to analyze
You think?
down for people.
Yeah,
I think so.
I bet we do. Look forward to it. No, I don't.
All right, John Brummett, columnist with the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Thanks as always.
Thank you, my friend. See you next time.